Hello, I welcome you back to this episode of our positive word, which we share daily with the world. How are you doing? Thank you for your time. The topic for this session is share your story. We're just stopping by to encourage us to share our stories. You will agree with me that each and every one of us alive has a story to tell. Some of us, multiple stories about various aspects of our lives. But it is important that we share our stories because in sharing the stories, we inspire other people. Our experiences become lessons to them, and they're able to avoid the errors we made and to go on to live lives maybe free of making the same mistakes. So sharing our stories is really very important. It helps us to admit that we have come through a lot. We have healed, because in sharing the stories, sometimes it helps the healing process to begin, as well as motivate other people to know that they can get through whatever and be able to share as well. If we cast our minds back to the children of Israel, they wandered the wilderness for 40 years. By the time God was ready for them, He took them and led them out of the wilderness. They encountered the river Jordan, and God stopped the river from flowing, and He allowed Joshua and the Israelites to safely cross into the land which He had promised their ancestors. So in that Joshua chapter 4, we actually see they crossed the river Jordan, but God instructed them to collect 12 stones that represented the 12 tribes of Israel. They collected those 12 stones from the river as a memorial of the great miracle God had done in their lives. Those stones would help generations to come remember the powerful hand of the Lord who delivered them. Everyone has a story to tell. And today we read the stories of the Israelites, and I'm certain that the forebears of the children of Israel, they still have those stones as memorial, reminding them those are stories that they will tell their children how their ancestors were delivered, set free by God Himself. Our stories are very important to us. Of course, we're not going to share stories with everybody around us, but God will lead us to those with whom we can share our story. I have never been one who wanted to be in the public. I'm a very private person. I tend to keep myself to myself. Those who are close to me, they know this. But how I am on social media doing the things I do, only God can explain. I do not know. I would rather just stay behind the scene, obscure, hide, read, bury myself in books. But today, here I am. The first time I ventured out to do a live video. It was scary, but once I was able to break through that, it's been a pleasure ride. All the fears I had dropped. Maybe another day I would come and share the story of a bit of how I got myself into what I'm doing today. But we all have got stories to share. There are significant answers to prayers that we have made to God. There are things we have experienced. These are stories. These all come together. They make the person who we are, the character we have become. And they would be very, very helpful to others who pay attention to us, who watch us, who listen to us. There are moments when God intervened in our lives. These are not supposed to be kept silent. Of course, like I said, it's up to us who we want to share with. But with the guidance of the Holy Spirit in us, we will share with the right people who would be motivated by the stories that we've got. Share your story to remind people about who God is, what God is like, and what God is willing and able to do for his people. There is no point of me coming out to say I have a great God, I believe in God, Jesus is the Lord of my life, if I do not have good stories or even unpleasant stories that occurred, that I experienced, and I was rescued, delivered by this God I proclaim. So share your story. We demonstrate the power of God, the love of God, the peace that can only be found in God. People are going through a lot of stuff. The world is becoming more and more a lonely place for individuals. Yes, it's a global village, but a global village where people are still isolated. Sharing our stories can help. That's one person who's waiting to hear something that would ignite a spark in their heart to carry on, to get up from where they have fallen and continue, because they can win after hearing the story that you had to share. Share your story. There is power in sharing. Your story can liberate someone. Your story can set someone on the path to go achieve their dreams. Let us never forget those tiny moments when you thought it was over, but something happened and you received the miracle which you desired. Share your story. Testify to the goodness of God, because it is there. We see it every day. We were ill. We took ill. We became well. It doesn't have to be things that are grand. There are tiny little moments that we tend to forget. There are significant ones as well. All of them are important because they all come together to build the character that we see, that the world is presented with. I thank you for your time today. I leave you in God's protection, peace, love, and joy as you stay brave, bold, and beautiful to share your story, to inspire that one person who might be looking forward just to listen and hear you. God bless.